Only stupid people buy these 12 grocery items. It sounds a bit harsh, but the truth is most people have fallen into this trap without even realizing it. You walk into the supermarket with a clear list, but walk out with items you never planned to buy. You think you're choosing smarter, healthier, more convenient options, but in reality, you're being guided. Stores don't just sell food. They design every shelf, every scent, every label to make you spend more money. From healthy products that give you a false sense of security to items placed right when you're most tired. And there are tricks that, once you know them, you'll never look at a supermarket the same way again. Especially item number 7. Almost everyone buys it, but it's one of the biggest money traps. So let's start with item number 12. 12. Pre-cut fruit. Have you ever told yourself, "I'm too busy today, I'll just grab a box of pre-cut fruit"? It looks clean, neat, and even makes you feel like you're living healthier. But that quick and easy choice is actually one of the easiest ways to lose money without realizing it. First, let's be honest about the pricing trick. You're not paying for the fruit. You're paying for someone to spend a few minutes preparing it for you. A whole watermelon might cost around $3 to $4. But once it's cut up and packaged, it can cost $6 to $7, or even more. If you calculate by weight, you're paying double or even triple. And here's the key point. Because it's divided into smaller portions, your brain no longer clearly registers the real price. You just see a small box for a few dollars, and the decision becomes incredibly easy. So what's the smart way to shop? It's simple. Go back to the old but effective way. Buy whole fruit. If you hesitate, spend 10 to 15 minutes at home cutting it up for 2 to 3 days. Do it once, use it multiple times. You save money and control freshness and hygiene. If you truly need convenience, treat pre-cut fruit as an occasional solution, not the default choice every time you go to the supermarket. But it doesn't stop there. Once fruit is cut, it starts losing its value. Exposure to air and light reduces vitamins, especially vitamin C, over time. What does that mean? You're paying more to get less nutrition. It sounds unreasonable, but it's a reality most people overlook. And here's the behind-the-scenes part. These pre-cut fruit boxes often don't come from the best-looking fruit. On the contrary, they're usually made from fruit that ripens quickly and is harder to sell whole. When left whole, you might skip them. But once they're cut, neatly packaged, and placed under bright lights, everything looks much more appealing. You think you're buying convenience. In reality, you're helping the store move near expiration inventory at a higher price. In the end, the issue isn't whether you buy it or not. It's whether you realize what you're actually paying for. If you pause for a few seconds in front of the shelf, you'll see. Sometimes, the most convenient option is the one that costs you the most. And if you think overpaying only happens with pre-cut fruit, not quite. There are products even more subtle, where you don't even realize what you're paying for, especially something many people use every day, right in their cup of coffee. Let's move on to item number 11. 11. Flavored milk/coffee creamers. You just plan to make a cup of coffee to wake yourself up, but then you open the fridge, see a bottle of vanilla or caramel creamer, and think, just a little to make it taste better. It sounds completely normal, but that small habit is actually one of the quiet ways you end up spending money every day without noticing. At first glance, a bottle of coffee creamer costs around $5 to $7, which doesn't seem like a big deal. But if you pause for a moment and look closer, the story changes. Most of these bottles aren't real milk. The main ingredients are usually water, vegetable oil, sugar, and flavoring. The actual production cost is very low, but thanks to attractive packaging and tasty-sounding names, the price is marked up far beyond its real value. You're not paying for nutrition. You're paying for the feeling that your coffee is more premium. And the interesting part is, you don't feel like you're spending much. Each time you pour a little, it seems insignificant. But because it's small and happens every day, the total cost is what really matters. This is the kind of spending you never clearly see until you look back at the end of the month. So if you want to shop smarter, you don't need to do anything complicated. Just go back to simple choices. Fresh milk, unsweetened milk, or even black coffee if you're used to it. If you like flavor, you can always adjust it your own way. Fewer ingredients, more transparency, and most importantly, you know exactly what you're drinking every day. But it doesn't stop there. There's something many people don't notice. These products often contain quite a bit of hidden sugar and processed fats. They create that rich, smooth, easy-to-drink feel. But over time, they're not a great choice for your health. The issue is, you don't realize it right away, because everything is packaged in a way that feels light and easy to accept. And then there's the packaging. You'll see phrases like dairy-free, plant-based, natural flavor. They sound good, trustworthy even. But in reality, many of these are just clever marketing terms. They're not false, but they don't tell the whole truth either. They make you feel reassured. And once you feel reassured, you're less likely to question anything. So let me ask you honestly, how many times have you used this in the past week? And do you really know what you're drinking? Try leaving a comment. What kind are you using? And have you ever thought about this before? And if you think these are just small, insignificant expenses, the next item might make you think again. Because it's something almost everyone buys, but rarely truly compares. Let's move on to number 10. 10. Spices, brand name versus ethnic markets. That day, I went to the supermarket with a close friend around my age. We were pushing the cart and chatting. When we got to the spice aisle, I reached for a jar of black pepper like I always do, but she gently stopped me and smiled. Wait. Do you always grab this one? I nodded, like it was obvious. She didn't say anything right away, just picked up a small jar, priced at nearly $5, then turned to me and asked, "Have you ever really looked at this?" I looked again. 40 grams. Tiny. She continued, "For the same money, at an ethnic market, they'll sell you 3 to 4 times as much. But here, you're paying for the nice jar and the familiar brand name." Hearing that, I paused for a moment. Up until then, I'd always kept it simple. If I needed it, I bought it, no overthinking. But she wasn't done. She opened a sample jar on the shelf, let me smell it, then shook her head. "See? The scent is very faint. It's not that your cooking is bad. It's because it's been sitting here too long." That's when I remembered. Many times at home, I'd cook, sprinkle in some spices, and it still tasted bland. So I added more. Then it ran out quickly. Then I bought more. It all felt normal, but it turns out I was using more simply because it had already lost its potency from the start. She went on, very casually. "I used to do the same. Always bought these jars for convenience. Later, I switched to small shops, where spices are sold in bags. Not pretty, no brand. But the moment you open them, you can tell. The aroma is completely different. And the funny thing is, you use less, but the food tastes better." At that point, I got it. It wasn't that I was saving money. I had been paying for familiarity all along. The nice jar, the clear label made me feel comfortable, so I stopped comparing. She wrapped it up with a simple line. Things in the kitchen don't need to look good. They just need to be right. I didn't say anything, just nodded. Let me ask you honestly, like two people who've both been through it. In your kitchen right now, how many spice jars are you still keeping? But if you actually open them and smell closely, there's barely any real aroma left. If this story feels familiar, the next item is even closer. It's something that shows up almost every day, yet hardly anyone pays attention to it. 9. Sliced white bread, mass-produced white bread. Let me ask you something simple. The last time you bought bread, did you actually think about it? Or did you just grab the usual loaf out of habit and move on? With this item, I've noticed almost everyone is the same. You walk into the supermarket, see those neatly sliced, soft, evenly shaped loaves of white bread, cleanly packaged. The price is only around $2 to $3. Very comfortable. And precisely because it's too comfortable, you never stop to take a closer look. But if you slow down for a moment, you'll notice something isn't quite right. These loaves can sit for a long time and still stay soft, still look perfectly white. That doesn't happen naturally. To achieve that, they go through quite a bit of processing, from refined flour to preservatives, which means you're buying a product designed for convenience and shelf life, not for better quality. And the trap here isn't in a single purchase. It's in how often you buy it. A loaf for a few dollars doesn't seem like much, but it's every week, every month. And because it's cheap, you never think about the total amount you've spent. You also don't think about whether there might be a better option. So if you want to shop smarter, you don't have to give up bread. Just change how you choose it. Try reading the ingredients more carefully. Try picking options that are less processed, or buy from small bakeries where bread is made fresher each day. You might pay a little more each time, but you'll eat less. And more importantly, you'll get real value in return. There's one more thing many people overlook. When flour is overly refined, most of its natural nutrients are stripped away. You still eat it, you still feel full, but your body doesn't actually get what it needs. And because of that, you tend to eat more without realizing it. That's a kind of cost that's hard to see, not on the receipt, but it adds up over time. It sounds simple, but let me ask you honestly, are you buying it because it's better, or just because you're used to it? If that question makes you pause for a moment, the next item is even easier to fall for. And this time, you'll think you're choosing something healthier. 8. Pre-marinated meat. Picture a very familiar situation. You've almost finished shopping, your arms are getting tired, your mind a bit drained. You stop at the meat section and see two options. On one side, fresh meat that you have to prepare yourself. On the other, trays of pre-marinated meat, visually appealing and ready to cook right away. And most people will choose the second. Not because they don't know how to cook, but because at that moment, they don't want to think anymore. And that exact moment is when the pricing trick starts to work. A tray of pre-marinated meat might only cost $2 to $4 more than fresh meat. Sounds small, but if you look closely, what you're paying for isn't entirely meat. It includes marinade, sauce, seasoning, things that cost very little, which means if you calculate the actual weight of the meat, you're paying significantly more, sometimes 30 to 50% higher without even realizing it. On top of that, because it's already marinated, you can hardly see the original quality of the meat anymore. The darker color, the stronger smell, all of it makes you feel like it's fine, even though it might not be. Many people will say, "I'm busy, I don't have time for that." It sounds reasonable, but if you actually think about it, marinating meat only takes a few minutes. Meanwhile, the extra money you pay, if it happens every week, adds up to a significant amount. And more importantly, when you do it yourself, you know exactly what you're eating. You're not guessing. There's another thing many people in the comments tend to overlook. These pre-marinated trays aren't just about convenience. They're also a way for stores to move meat that's no longer at its best condition or needs to be sold quickly. Once it's seasoned, it's very hard for you to notice the original difference. So the smart way to buy isn't to avoid it completely. It's to know when to use it. If you truly need something quick on a certain day, no problem. But if it becomes your default choice every week, then you're paying for convenience more than you think. Be honest. Did you choose that tray because it made sense? Or because at that moment, you just wanted to get it over with? And if you've ever felt that way, there's something even more familiar. You use it almost every day, without thinking. 7. Bottled water. There's something you almost never think about when buying. You don't stop to compare. You don't really consider it. You just reach out, put it in your cart, and move on. That's bottled water. It sounds simple, but precisely because it's so simple, you never realize how much you're actually spending on it. A bottle costs around $1 to $2, sometimes $3 for more premium brands. It doesn't seem like much in a single purchase. But if you drink it every day, or your whole family uses it, that number quickly adds up to hundreds of dollars a year. And the thing is, you rarely notice it. But the real cost of bottled water isn't in the number you see. It's in the gap between the price and its actual value. The production cost of a bottle of water is very low, just a few cents. Most of what you pay goes toward plastic packaging, transportation, branding, and the convenience of being able to grab it and drink immediately. Which means you're not really paying for the water. You're paying for the feeling of ease, and that ease is exactly what turns it into a habit. You don't buy it because you need it. You buy it because it's always there, always ready. No thinking, no preparation. And when something requires no thought, it's very easy to repeat every single day. Many people will say, "I buy it for convenience because I don't have time to prepare." That's true in some situations. But if you look at the long term, there are other options that are just as simple. A reusable water bottle, a home water filter. There may be an upfront cost, but over time it becomes almost negligible. And you don't have to pay for the same thing every day. Not to mention, there's another issue more people are starting to pay attention to: plastic waste. Every bottle you finish is a single-use item. You might not notice it immediately, but over time, it adds up to a large amount. It's not just about money, but also the impact on the environment around you. So the point here isn't whether you should or shouldn't buy bottled water. It's whether you realize what you're actually paying for. Are you buying it because you truly need it, or because you've gotten used to holding a bottle every day? And if you think small expenses like this don't matter, the next item might make you reconsider. Because this time, you'll believe you're saving money. But the reality might be the opposite. 6. Jarred pasta sauces. There's a somewhat surprising truth. A jar of pasta sauce in the supermarket costs around $4 to $7. But the actual ingredient cost inside, tomatoes, salt, oil, seasoning, is only a small fraction of that. Most of what you're paying for is the fact that it's already made for you. It doesn't sound like a big deal. But if you've ever noticed, one jar like that usually only lasts for 1 to 2 meals. Which means every time you cook, you're spending a few extra dollars just to save about 10 to 15 minutes of prep. And when that repeats every week, the number stops being small. But the real point isn't just the price. It's how this product is packaged in your mind. You look at the jar, See red tomatoes. Labels like natural, traditional recipe, rich Italian flavor. You feel like you're choosing something high quality, even good for your family's meals. And once you have that feeling, you almost stop questioning it. In reality, if you flip it around, you'll see an ingredient list longer than you expect. Not just tomatoes. There's added sugar, salt, acidity regulators, sometimes even preservatives. It's not bad right away, but it's definitely not as simple as it seems. The interesting part is, if you make sauce at home, you only need a few basic ingredients: tomatoes, garlic, oil, a bit of seasoning. It doesn't take much more time, but you control everything, and the cost per meal is usually significantly lower. Many people will say, "I don't have time to make sauce from scratch." That's true, but not entirely. You don't have to do it every day. You can make it once and use it for multiple meals. Or even simpler, choose products with minimal ingredients instead of jars filled with things you don't recognize. There's also another point. When you get used to just open and use, you gradually lose the habit of preparing things yourself. Not because you can't do it, but because you stop thinking about it. And when that happens, you start relying more on convenience products, small amounts each time, but they add up to something significant. So the question isn't whether you should buy jarred sauce or not. It's whether you actually need it, or if you're just choosing the easiest option in that moment. A simple strategy. If you use it often, try making enough once for a few meals and store it. Or at the very least, read the ingredient list carefully before buying. Just that small change gives you control over both the cost and the quality of your meals. 5. Organic foods, unselective buying. Did you know that the more people try to eat healthier in the supermarket, the more money they often spend, without necessarily getting much better results? You stand in front of two almost identical products. One is regular, the other has the word organic, and almost instinctively, you choose the second one. No need to think too long, because in your mind, that choice means better, cleaner, safer, and in that very moment, you stop questioning. If you look at the price, the difference is usually significant. Many organic products can cost 30%, even 50% more than regular ones. But because it's tied to the feeling that you're doing the right thing, you stop paying attention to the numbers. You're not just buying food, you're buying peace of mind. But what many people don't tell you is this: not everything labeled organic makes a meaningful difference. Some foods are naturally less affected by chemicals, or their outer layers already provide enough protection. In those cases, paying extra doesn't really give you proportional value. On top of that, when your budget gets pushed up by these premium choices, you tend to buy less. Less fruit, less vegetables, or less variety in your meals. And in the end, your overall diet may not be as balanced as you think. Many people in the comments often say, "I buy organic for peace of mind for my family." That's completely understandable. But the issue is that peace of mind sometimes comes more from the label than from actually understanding the product. Have you noticed that the organic section in supermarkets is usually designed very beautifully? Softer lighting, gentler colors, a cleaner feel. You walk in and naturally feel like you're choosing something better. But in reality, that's also part of how the shopping experience is designed. So the smart way to shop isn't to avoid it completely. It's to be selective. There are products where organic makes sense, but there are also things where paying extra isn't necessary. A simple approach you can use: instead of looking at the label first, look at the product itself. The ingredients, the origin, how it's used. And ask yourself, is this extra cost really worth it? Because in the end, eating well isn't about the label you choose. It's about understanding what you're eating and whether you truly have control over that choice. 4. Bottled salad dressings. A casual shopper looks at a salad and thinks about nutrition, but someone who understands how the market works looks at the dressing next to it. Let me tell you this story. One time I went to the supermarket with a friend around my age. She put all kinds of things in her cart. Greens, tomatoes, cucumbers, very healthy. I thought to myself, yeah, that's a good way to eat. But at the end, she reached for a bottle of salad dressing. It cost nearly $6. I asked casually, "Why is that so expensive?" She smiled. "It makes it easier to eat. Without dressing, no one can stand it." At that moment, I didn't say anything. But later, I started paying closer attention. A bottle like that, if you check the ingredients, is mostly oil, sugar, salt, and flavoring. Very simple ingredients, low cost. But because it's packaged nicely and labeled healthy, light, organic, the price is pushed far beyond its actual value. And the clever part is, you don't feel like you're spending much, because you think you're doing something good for your health. You're not buying dressing, you're buying the feeling that you're eating the right way. But the paradox is right there. A salad that's naturally light and low in calories can become heavy just because of the dressing on top. Sometimes the sugar and fat in the dressing are higher than you expect. You eat salad to be healthier, but end up adding things you don't really need. My friend eventually realized this too. She tried something very simple. Instead of buying bottled dressing, she used olive oil, lemon, a bit of salt and pepper, mixed it directly. It took less than 2 minutes, but the meal felt lighter, the flavors clearer, and most importantly, much cheaper. Many people will say, "I don't have time to mix all that." But honestly, you don't need anything complicated. Just a few basic ingredients, mix quickly, and you're done. And once you get used to it, it becomes automatic, just like how you used to reach for the bottle. The point isn't whether you should use bottled dressing or not. It's whether you're using it every day, without realizing what you're adding to your meal. If this sounds familiar, there's something else that's even easier to fall for. It looks small, the price isn't high, but how you buy it is what really matters. 3. Individually packaged snacks. A smart decision doesn't come from how something feels, but from understanding what you're actually paying for. Think back for a moment. You're standing in front of a shelf full of neatly packaged snacks. Cookies, nuts, dried fruit, all portioned into small packs. It looks convenient, clean. And in that moment, your only thought is simple. Just grab a few of these. A large snack bag might cost $4 to $5. But when it's divided into smaller packs, the total price can go up to $7 to $8 for the same amount. Which means you're paying almost double just to avoid opening a big bag and portioning it yourself. But because each small pack is only a few dollars, you don't feel like you're spending much. You just feel the convenience. And this is the part many people don't notice. When food is divided into small portions, your brain doesn't register the total. You eat one pack. It doesn't feel like enough. You grab another, still feels normal. By the time you stop, you've eaten more than planned and spent more than planned. Many people in the comments often say, "I buy these to control my portions." It sounds reasonable, but in reality, it's the opposite. Because each pack is too small, you don't feel satisfied. So you go back for more. In the end, you're not controlling anything. You're just repeating the behavior. There's another thing. These products are designed to be visually appealing. Colors, images, messages like convenient, family-friendly, perfect for on the go. Especially if you have kids at home, it's almost hard not to buy them. But those same elements make you stop paying attention to the real value inside. So what's the solution? Very simple, but it takes a bit of discipline. Buy the larger package. At home, portion it out yourself if needed. Do it once. Use it multiple times. You control how much you eat, and more importantly, you control your money. And if you're truly busy, ask yourself, am I paying for the food or paying to avoid thinking? The moment you start asking that question, the way you shop will change. And trust me, the next item is even more subtle. Because this time, you'll think you're buying something completely normal. But in reality, it's not that simple. 2. Pre-packaged deli meats. What really matters is the actual value you get, not what's printed on the packaging. Think about it. Every time you go to the supermarket, you see neatly arranged packs of deli meats in the fridge. Thin, uniform, clean, ready to use the moment you open them. No slicing, no prep. And almost instinctively, you grab one because it's so convenient. But that convenience hides the most important part. A pack of deli meat might cost $5 to $8. At first glance, it doesn't seem like much. But if you look closer, the weight is usually quite small. When calculated per kilogram, the price is significantly higher than fresh meat or meat sliced at the counter. Which means you're paying extra for the fact that it's already sliced, packaged, and ready so you don't have to do anything. But it doesn't stop at price. When you buy this kind of meat, you can't really see the original quality. Everything is sliced thin, neatly arranged, with almost identical color. You don't know which part of the meat it came from, how fresh it is, or how it was handled before packaging. And to maintain that perfect appearance, many products include added salt, preservatives, or ingredients that extend shelf life. It's not something you'll notice from eating it once, but if it becomes a weekly habit, that's a different story. Many people will say, I buy this because it's quick, it's convenient for making sandwiches for my family. That's completely understandable. But if you think about it, buying fresh meat and having it sliced at the counter doesn't take much extra time. And you can clearly see what you're getting, both in quality and quantity. So the solution isn't to eliminate it entirely. It's to change how you choose. If you use it often, prioritize fresh meat and have it sliced as needed. Or at the very least, read the ingredients carefully and choose the simplest options possible. And more importantly, ask yourself a very simple question every time you reach for that pack. Am I paying for the meat or for the convenience I've gotten used to? Once you start looking at real value, you'll realize many choices you thought made sense were just habits. And when you change one habit, you start gaining control over many things. Not just your money, but how you take care of yourself every day. 1. Energy drinks and ready-to-drink coffee. This is something that affects your long-term quality of life, yet it's something many people overlook every day. Think about it. A can of energy drink, a bottle of cold coffee, you don't buy it because you need it, but because you feel like you deserve it. A little boost, a little treat yourself after being tired. It sounds reasonable and very familiar. But because it's so familiar, you stop looking closely. A can of energy drink might cost $2 to $3. A bottled coffee, $4 to $5. Not much for a single purchase, but if you drink it 3 to 4 times a week, that quickly adds up to a few $100s a year. And the thing is, the actual production cost of these drinks is very low. You're paying for packaging, branding, and the feeling of instant energy. But that's only part of it. These drinks often contain high amounts of caffeine and sugar. You drink it and feel alert right away. But that feeling fades quickly. You get tired again. And then you reach for another can. A very familiar cycle, one you don't even realize you've stepped into. And here's what many people overlook. You're no longer drinking it because you enjoy it. You're drinking it because you've gotten used to that feeling. And when a habit is tied to emotion, tired, you drink, stressed, you drink, it becomes part of your daily life without you noticing. Many people will say, "I need it to work, to stay awake." That's not wrong. But if you look closer, there are simpler alternatives. Making coffee at home, getting better sleep, or simply reducing how often you drink it. You don't have to cut it out completely, just control it. The best solution isn't to stop immediately, it's to become aware. Try tracking it for a week, how many times you drink it. And each time ask yourself, do I really need this, or is it just a habit? You can also make small changes, cut the frequency in half, or switch to simpler options. That alone helps you regain control over both your spending and your energy. And most importantly, when you take control of this, you're not just saving money. You're taking back control over how your body functions every day. Just because something is familiar doesn't mean it's safe. But once you truly understand what you're doing, you won't be led by it anymore. In the end, what matters most isn't how many times you've made the wrong purchase. It's whether starting today, you begin to see things differently. You don't need to change everything at once. Just each time you stand in front of a shelf, pause for a moment. Ask yourself a simple question. Am I paying for value or for habit? Once you start thinking that way, every decision after that will change. Your money, your health, and the way you live each day. All of it comes down to small choices you once thought didn't matter. And if you think it ends here, not quite. In the next video, we'll talk about they'll be gone before May 31st. 12 foods you'll regret not buying.